do whatever I feel like doing and then either ask what's for dinner or just show up to dinner when it's time. Of course, there will be no dinner, but still. We have sat down and had conversations about this several times. I bet my father never had to clean the bathroom is the kind of response I usually get from him. I thought about making a new account to post this with, but then I thought, fuck that, I have nothing to be embarrassed about. I am a grown butt person, and I did nothing wrong, except maybe not standing my ground sooner. This is such bullshit. Update, so here's how it went. Are we eating dinner tonight? I don't know. Are you cooking dinner? Okay. Wow. He shakes head in disapproval. Well, I figured since you said you do everything around here, I could just chill, and you take care of it like you always do. Then a short back and forth. I didn't say that. Yes you did. Etc. etc. He got up, made himself a sandwich, and had dinner at his computer. A little while later I made myself some food and ate in peace in the living room. I finished my dinner, put my plate on the counter and left it there with the rest of the stuff. A couple of hours later he came in the bedroom and announced he ran the dishwasher because the dirty dishes stunk. He asked if I was boycotting that, too. Well, like I said, since you do everything around here, I figured you had it under control. He left all the non-dishwasher stuff on the counter. He said I was brutal. I said yep I sure am. I went about my skincare routine and went to bed a little after him. He leaned over to drink some water and guess what? No water. In the 16 years we've lived together, he hasn't done that particular chore once. I told him that poop doesn't just happen by magic and turned off the light. I effing hate being this petty and I don't really like myself very much right now. I finally opened up to a friend this afternoon. She has been through a divorce and had some good advice. I think my next step is to get an appointment with a therapist, get my head on straight and figure out my next step. I'm working 9 to 7 tomorrow. I wonder what will be waiting for me when I get home. 16 months later, about 2 months after the original post I finally made my first therapy appointment. Interestingly enough, the contact info for this therapist I had been looking into on Psychology Today fell into my lap at my workplace. I thought, not even I can ignore this sign or whatever you want to call it. LOL. We did a discovery call and I've been seeing them weekly since then. The hardest part for me was the disclosure of the main issues in my marriage. I felt guilty for talking about my husband behind his back. I felt ashamed for complaining and then I felt ashamed for allowing mistreatment for so long. But the thing that made the most difference for me was having someone else to talk to that had no stake in the game. I told my therapist things that no one else knew. Not friends, not my sister, not even my mother. I didn't even realize how isolated I was till I started hearing from my therapist things like, that's not normal in a respectful, equitable relationship, or that sounds an awful lot like emotional abuse. At first I was like, is he really abusive? Maybe I really am too sensitive, too demanding, too lazy. But opening up to my therapist helped me open up to other people in my life. At first only a friend that had gone through divorce, then a couple more friends, then my sister, then most of my friends, then my mother, and what I heard across the board was, that's not normal, he's an a-hole. I'm not gonna lie and say I wasn't looking for validation, but I also wanted to know if I was literally insane or not. My self-confidence was in the toilet and I had a completely messed up concept of what a healthy marriage should be. I brainstormed with my therapist, best friend, sister and mother and we came up with a safe way for me to break the news. I literally just walked up to him and said, for the sake of our marriage and for both our sakes, I cannot be here anymore and I'm moving out. He did not get upset, or argue, or yell. He just kinda got really down and started feeling sorry for himself. It was the weirdest 2 days ever, where I'd be packing up my clothes pretty much quietly crying the whole time and he'd just be sitting there in the bedroom with me either talking about other things or not talking at all. Exactly 2 days after I told him, I had packed about 95% of my things and I was ready to go. He kept asking if I had everything I needed, if I needed to take anything else, even made me a little care package with some OTC sleeping aids he knows I absolutely need these days. I put clean sheets on the bed, put the trash and recycling out, hugged him for some reason, hugged my dogs and left. When I left he was bizarrely calm and loving, but later that night the verbal abuse started again, that I was leaving him alone, that he had no one else to take care of him, that he hurt too much to make food, or order food, and that I was going to kill him, begging me to drop him off some food, literal all caps I'm begging you several times to different chat apps. I didn't cave because he is a grown-ass man, and I decided it was time for me to take care of myself. I have been back to the house twice to see my dogs and I had no expectations but it was basically me hanging out with the dogs while he went on and on about his misfortunes. A divorce is definitely in the cards for me, but a lot more of my ducks need to be in a row for that.